Alright, guys, let's talk Black Ops 6. I got a chance to play this past weekend. I really enjoyed it. I'd love to see what y'all guys thought about it, but I know there's a lot of videos going around on the internet, so I thought I would come in here and give my thoughts. So, let's start with the pros. First, I think the maps look great. They didn't really have any huge problems, in my opinion, visually. I really liked them. There was also a lot of variety, like Scud, kind of a dark map, but then you would have like Babylon, which is super bright in the desert. And so I just really liked how all the maps were different, and then they also just looked like Treyarch really put a lot of effort into them. So, second point, the meta is not too unbalanced. I know a lot of people were saying the first weekend the PDW was just above and beyond great, but I think that with the second weekend, whenever I got a chance to play, there weren't really any guns that were too difficult to play with. Some weapons are fine with being bad, like shotguns and the SVD, which is the Dragunov. Those guns are not the greatest. Everyone gets mad when somebody runs around with a shotgun, and then the SVD, it just had too many problems with it. It just had way too much kick for being like a 2 or 3 shot kill, so I'm fine with that. I usually rocked the M4, and it seemed fine. And so going on a third point, the medium and small maps are great. I think that Treyarch is really doing something good by saying all their maps will be medium and small. That way that there's always going to be action. When you get these big maps like in past Call of Duties, they're just really boring. Even with Scud, I think that's probably the biggest map. And I remember there were times whenever I'd be on a team with really good players, so then it would be hard for me to find somebody. And that's not going to happen every match. It only happened to me once. But sometimes in the past with really big maps, it gets really annoying having to search for people. And so the last point on the pro side is I didn't have much lag. I know a lot of people did, and that's probably the main talking point for a lot of people coming out of this weekend. But I personally didn't have much lag. There were times whenever I would get a little bit of packet burst, but I don't remember it really being a problem for me. So now, let's move on to cons. Number one thing that I think everybody is talking about is skill-based matchmaking. It is no different. It's probably going to be in every single Call of Duty from here on out. They started it a couple years ago, and it's always going to be the same. And it's really unfortunate because I really enjoyed the game, but then I kid you not, I think probably I had a 15% win rate through the whole weekend. I did not win very much. And so I think it's a big problem. Technically it would be EOMM, and basically meaning that when you do really good, the servers put you in better lobbies, so then you lose for a bit, and then it puts you in easier lobbies, so then you win for a bit. Kind of just that back and forth thing, trying to keep people playing longer. And apparently there are studies about that, and that's the reason why it's a thing, but that's been a big talking point for years now, and I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. And the next thing, I already mentioned it, the lag and packet bursts for a lot of people was a big problem. I think they're already working on ways to make that better. I know a lot of people said that it was better this second weekend than the first weekend, but I know for some people it was the opposite. So I don't know what they're going to do about that, but I have a feeling when the game officially rolls out, it'll be fine. And then this didn't happen to me, but I know it happened to a lot of people, but the shadow banning situation is a little bit out of hand. There are a lot of just really good players that were getting banned just for doing well, and Like I saw an example. There was Shotzi, who I think he dropped a nuke and he was like 31-0 or something, and so that's a big problem. So the last point for cons, I don't know if y'all experienced this. I know a lot of people were saying that on Domination it was the biggest problem, but on Babylon the spawns weren't very good. There were just times whenever I would be shooting at people one direction, thinking that's where their spawn's at. Just how the game flowed, I just knew that they probably are spawning over there, and then people just be right on top of me. And apparently that's where their new spawn was. It was really weird because it's like normally, the spawns are further away from the opposite team, but for some reason on Babylon there were times whenever that just wasn't the case. And I know there's lots of people talking about it as well, and so I definitely felt that, just like those people. But those are just some of the pros and cons. Overall, I did really enjoy it. That was my experience. A lot of people did not enjoy it for these cons that I listed out, but just let me know down in the comments what y'all's thoughts are, and I'd just love to see that. But until next time, see ya.